Hurricane Hilary. So, Mark, early yesterday morning, which would have been Thursday the 17th, I got into
Mhm.
work. I get in really early, get ready for the forecast and whatnot. It's about 2:15. I pull up the National
Ugh.
Hurricanes website, and it was Tropical Storm Hilary. I believe
Mhm.
Tropical Storm Hilary was packing sustained winds of 70 miles per hour. Let's fast forward to this morning, and this tropical cyclone underwent rapid intensification off the coast of Mexico, and now it's a Category 4 hurricane. So this is a major hurricane developing in the Eastern Pacific, south of basically south of Baja California or south of Cabo San Lucas.
You can
And
see the map there for the folks that are watching on video. You can see it, right? Hopefully, I shared
yeah,
it correctly.
I can
Yeah.
see
Okay.
it. I think everybody else can see it as well.
Good.
And I'm sure you've heard rumblings about this. This system is taking an unusual track, not totally unusual. We have seen tropical systems work their way up the Baja California Peninsula and close to Southern California, and some have made landfall in Southern California. But this one looks like it's going to hold on to a pretty strong hurricane strength or tropical storm strength, and then is likely to make landfall in Southern California sometime between Sunday night and Monday morning.
Right. And we should point out number one, um, the reason we don't typically see these. I mean, you look at the latitude there of let's say Los Angeles or San Diego. The latitude you move over to the east, that's like central Louisiana or southern Alabama. We can easily get hurricanes over there. The reason is at this latitude on the west coast of continents in the northern hemisphere, it's a northerly current of cool water. So the waters are pretty chilly. Once you get north of about see the red area where the hurricane warning is right now. Once you get north of there, hurricanes can't really survive because they need 80-degree water, and that water could be 70, 72 degrees. It's just not warm enough to sustain them.
Yeah, I watched a weather briefing from the National Weather Service office in San Diego, and they said that right offshore of California and Tijuana, basically, right off the coast of Baja in Southern California, sea surface temperatures are in the 70s. So, as Mark just mentioned, you need sea surface temperatures at and above 80 degrees to sustain a hurricane or for a hurricane to strengthen. And
Mm-hmm.
so, as it travels north, it will gradually weaken. It won't be as organized. The wind speeds will come down a little bit. But this system, Mark, is in a very humid, moist environment off the coast of Mexico over the Eastern Pacific. It's just drawing so much moisture into it, and it's going to be carrying that moisture up to the north. So wind is going to be a factor. High surf
Mm-hmm.
in some storm surge will be a factor, but the biggest problem I think that Southern California and the desert Southwest faces is the rainfall aspect of this. Now, Mark, you brought up a graphic here. This is the rainfall outlook issued by NOAA. And why
Mm-hmm.
don't you go ahead and help kind of describe what's
Sure.
going on here?
Yeah, basically, this is their 1 to 5 day rainfall forecast. They do this for significant weather systems, and what you're looking at, I'll describe it for people they can't see. Basically, everywhere in the southern 1/3 of California will likely get 2 inches or more of rain. I mean, we're talking everywhere, including the deserts. Because if you think about it, this is a tropical system. It's coming in from the south. When we get the wet systems in the cool season that come in from the west, they're running into the Sierra. They're running into the other ranges there south between Los Angeles and San Diego. But if it's coming up from the south, it's deep tropical moisture. So even the deserts, go ahead, Jeff, can get a lot of rain.
Yeah, and okay, imagine a hurricane. It's cylindrical. The wind
Mm-hmm.
rotates counterclockwise, and so do the
Right.
bands of moisture. And
Mm.
typically, the right side or the east side of a hurricane has the greatest impacts, the most
Right.
rainfall, the strongest wind, and the can you bring up that forecast track again one more time, Mark?
Yep.
So there is still some uncertainty as to exactly where the center of circulation is going to go. But let's assume that the center of circulation moves over San Diego. That would
Mm-hmm.
put the right side of the hurricane or the east side of the hurricane over the deserts, the mountains and the deserts of Southern California. So, again, I'm kind of referring back to the Weather Service office in San Diego. They had a great discussion yesterday. They keep putting out videos. The strongest wind and the heaviest of the rain bands are going to be kind of pinwheeling in from the east, and they're going to be moving over the high deserts of Southern California and Arizona, and they're going to be moving into the
Mm-hmm.
mountain ranges, those eastern slopes of the mountain ranges, San Diego County mountains, San Bernardino Mountain, the Riverside County Mountains, the San Bernardino Mountains, there are indications that those mountain ranges could pick up 10 inches or more of rain
Ooh,
in a
that's
matter of
bad.
3 days. And if you look at this map here, and for those that are just listening, like the inland, or not the inland empire, excuse me, the deserts. So like basically from the border of Mexico and California, like the Imperial Valley, extending northward to the Salton Sea and into the Coachella Valley, where Palm Springs and Coachella are. There's just a large area circled in yellow, and that map indicates 4 to 6 inches of rain likely for just a huge swath of the desert down there. And
Yeah, and look how it goes all the way into the deserts of Nevada, 2 to 4 inches.
and into Death Valley, which was at about 130 degrees a few weeks back. I mean, think about that, Mark. You could have just a tropical inundation of rain coming into just desert communities that have been super dry and super hot.
Yeah, and when I've been to Palm Springs, which is you grew up in that area, and I see those like they kind of have what looks like dams across where the
Washes.
canyons kind of open up the washes, and they have dams there, and they're clearly made for big events like this, where it's like, where would all that water come from? So I guess so they can hold it back briefly, so it can go out in an orderly fashion. But boy, that's going to be pretty dramatic down there. Jeff, I got to tell you, viewers, this morning Jeff said, I'm getting some FOMO. And I'm like, I know FOMO means something, but I can't think of what. So I actually had to look it up. I had to Google it because I'm 54. It means fear of missing out. So you want to be down in your home territory, like to experience this tropical rain, don't you? A big event.
It would be like you covering weather in Palm Springs, but a rainfall event like you've never seen before is going to impact the Pacific Northwest, Mark. That's kind of
or a 3-foot snow. How about a 3-foot snowstorm? I would not want to be down in a sunny place when that happens here.
Well, and that's just the thing, Mark. And you joke about being a 3-foot snowstorm. A 1-foot snowstorm is huge in the metro area, right? Well,
yeah, right.
Palm Springs averages about 4 to 5 inches of rain a year. And they're going to see that across the entire desert landscape in a matter of 3 days. And I try to visualize like where is all this water going to go? Obviously it's going to go to the lowest areas. Sadly, I just imagine neighborhoods getting flooded, a lot of homes. I know that the fire departments down there are handing out sandbags, just to help to kind of shore up homes and whatnot. But the desert doesn't receive and handle rainfall as well as, say, the Pacific Northwest does. I mean, the water just does not get absorbed into the ground as well.
Yeah, the first half inch will go in, and then that'll be it. Or I'm just making that up, but something like that. And you can see this flash flood guidance here. And here's another graphic we just pulled up, folks, and it shows what a high risk. I can't see the legend because
you're right. No, yeah, a high risk, at least 70% chance of flash flood risk across essentially the Coachella Valley. I know a lot of people have connections to Southern California, may have traveled there for vacation. This is just going to change the landscape. The hiking trails, the stream beds, they're all beds, Mark. They don't have flowing water in them typically.
Right.
So
yeah,
we're gonna be watching it closely. And I think by Monday we're gonna have a really good idea of how this all played out. Monday and Tuesday, I'm sure we're gonna get a lot of visuals on that. But the track of the system, really quick, I just want you to visualize. Imagine the plains and the Midwest. There's going to be a big heat ridge building out there over the next few days. All right. And the air rotates clockwise around a heat ridge. So that's going to draw that circulation, the hurricane or the remnant of the hurricane, up to the north. It's going to move into interior California, and then it's going to work its way maybe somewhere between Nevada and Eastern Oregon and Idaho. So it'll be well past hurricane strength at that point. It'll probably be just a remnant low, but it's still going to be carrying a lot of that moisture northward, right?
Yes, we've seen that with regular tropical systems. A hurricane runs into New Orleans, and then 2 days later, it's pouring, several inches of rain in southern Illinois or southern Ohio or Kentucky or Tennessee, right? And so the same thing, except it'll be disrupted by mountains a bit more, but the whole atmosphere is still, there'll be a chunk of very humid air. And that moves right up through Eastern Oregon, it looks like, on Monday. There's just one model's representation. This is the WRF GFS. We're looking at, watching, you're listening. What you can basically see is the eastern third of Oregon gets soaked during the daytime on Monday. It looks like it's mainly done by Monday afternoon, Monday evening. But there are spots just on this model. You know what? I can't see the legend either, but I think it's 1 inch, pretty widespread across that eastern quarter of the state. Like if you drew a line from Burns to John Day to LeGrand in east, could be a big soaking. Kind of a steady rain. It probably will not be real thunderstormy. It looks like an actual slug of rain comes through.
Yeah, I was saying about a half an inch to an inch, maybe on the higher end, but there could be isolated pockets that pick up more than that. We're going to be dealing with an unusually moist atmosphere.
What is that red there? I can't see the legend, Jeff. There's some red in the Blue Mountains or the Southern Wallowas.
You know what, Mark? It's blocked for me too. So I would assume
must be 2 or 3 inches, but
yeah.
Basically in Baker City, maybe LeGrand, but Baker City and Boise, Monday's going to be a weird subtropical feeling day with a lot of rain.
Hey,